Very good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Ram Govind Singh from Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. Today, I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic: Introduction to Dark Web in Cybersecurity. So, as we know about World Wide Web, Internet, and this is a very complex system where a lot of communication is going on 24 hours. Multiple mobile devices, computer devices, routers, IoT devices, a lot of devices are connected, and each devices are continuously performing the communication. In between all these, a new topic comes nowadays, which appears very frequently in day-to-day life. This is regarding dark web. In this talk, I will discuss about what is the concept of darknet and how it works. What is the concept behind anonymous services? Various kind of cyber security threats, cyber crimes that are originating from the dark web nowadays. I will discuss how it can impact our businesses, what can be the consequences of crimes that are being performed from the dark web. Consequences can include like what can be the social consequences, economic consequences, and what can be the cyber threats. I will also discuss how organization can follow a proper preventive measures in order to prevent sending their data to the dark market. So as we know that multiple search engines always try to collect data and discloses us. So those data which can be indexed by search engines like Google and Yahoo, all those data can be called as surface web. There are a lot of data which are hidden behind this surface web, like our medical records, subscription information, government resources. All these data is considered as a deep web. Out of all these data, there is a subset which is a collection of .onion websites. Those data is considered as a dark web. So let us discuss how this network is being created and how cyber criminals are using it for fraudulent activities. So if we look at the normal internet communication, then we want to define two properties. The first one is privacy. Like the privacy means how an individual can control how much information he should share over the internet. Whether the individual should have a choice that which information should be collected by website owner and which information should not be collected. The goal of individual is like he should submit as minimum as possible personal information to the website owner. After the introduction of latest bill like the GDPR and the draft version of Indian Personal Data Protection Bill, the privacy becomes more important. We can define privacy in the like user privacy and data privacy. Data means the user wants to share minimum information, minimum personal information over the internet. And anonymity. Anonymity is defined as can an individual be unknown to the internet, means whenever he is performing the communication over the internet, his identity should not be revealed. In the later part of this lecture, I will discuss whether this property is really required or not and why different kind of cyber threat are being created because of this property. Before that, I will discuss how with the concept of dark net such a property can be achieved. Now, if we look at our normal TCP/IP protocol communication, like here I'm giving an example of a website communication. Consider a host A who want to send some data request to the web server. So during the transmission of this request, how TCP/IP protocol take place? During the sending of this request, the sender adds its source IP address, its source port number, its destination IP address and destination port number. Along with this, he also add the data which it wants to transfer to the internet server. Now, this data is being transferred through the different intermediary routers and goes to the internet server. Now, it's depend upon internet server whether he wants to reply back to the client or not. If it wants to reply back, then it prepare a reply message and add the address of the sender who has previously sent the request and attach the reply. This reply goes again through the different routers, and the sender, the host A, receives this reply. If we look at this communication, then we will find out that all our data is being passes through the different channels and ultimately being received to the website web server or internet server. Now, the two property which we have defined earlier, can we say that whether these two property are being fulfilled or not? See, in the internet communication, different websites wants to collect our personal information. So we cannot say whether privacy is being fulfilled or not. Now let us come to the second point, anonymity. So if we observe this communication, then we will find out that if anybody who is sitting between these two these two parties, we can say that person as a man in the middle. So he can easily observe that these two parties are performing the communication. He can easily find out what is the sender IP address and what is the receiver's IP address. Similarly, the internet server also knows that this is the IP address of a sender from where this request is coming. So in entire communication, the person who is either in the middle or the person who is receiving the request can easily identify the IP address of the sender. Now, can a user hide its identity over the internet? So this concept, these two properties are fulfilled by the concept of darknet. I will discuss how it works. Then I will discuss what are the disadvantages of this darknet. So the darknet is defined as it is as an overlay network. This network is being created on the top of the TCP/IP layer protocol. So we does not need to configure any specific set of hardware. Based upon some software changes, this network can be easily created on the top of the TCP/IP layer protocol. So in order to create this network, we need a set of some specific software and a set of specific configuration upon our any public public computer system. So we does not need any router. Any our public computer system can work as a part of this darknet. And as I mentioned, to access this kind of network, we need a specific software. We will discuss about it, and a set of specific configuration using which this kind of network can be accessed. And the set of websites which are created over the darknet, those websites is called as a dark web. So let us start from the history. So the history of darknet started from 1970s itself. Earlier, this term was being used parallel to the ARPANET. So all those content which was not the part of ARPANET, those things was considered as a darknet. Later, US Department of Defense has started a project that can we perform the communication over the internet, where all our data traffic should be encrypted and no one in the middle should know about the identity of the senders. With this aim, this project was started, but this could not become successful. Based upon the idea of privacy and identity, later several researchers have started the concept of darknet, and they have given different argument that why such a property is really required. For example, they have given the example of rights of non-profit organizations or human rights. So due to different reason proposed by this community, they have started the project of darknet. So what are the reasons due to which we really require this property? For example, if we observe the internet communication, then we will find out that all our search are being recorded. Means whoever the website owner is, he records everything. Like if we are searching, like if we take the example of Google, then whatever search we perform, like the movie about any restaurant or about any aeroplane tickets, so all these things are being recorded, and later whenever we visit different websites, these patterns are used to disclose the advertisement, and these recorded data are being used for different monetary purpose. Also, whenever we submit any data over the internet, these data are shared with different parties, and this shared data is not in the knowledge of the senders. Many websites are putting surveillance upon us, like what are our internet users behavior, how much he used the internet, what are how much times he is spending over a particular websites. All these behaviors are captured by different websites and uses for different monetary purposes. So here, if we look at these kind of activities, then we will figure out that somewhere our privacies are being breached. Similarly, if any user wants to search some sensitive topics, like websites which has been blocked within your territory, and you still wants to access those websites, the purpose can be like you want to access for some cyber security analysis, you want to access for some genuine purposes. So how you can access those websites? Similarly, if there is a journalist who wants to publish some local news, or he wants to write some different viewpoints, or some human right wing who wants to publish, who wants to share some information, but he does not want to reveal his identity, or there is some law enforcement officers, some websites blocks the request if they find out that these requests are coming from a particular organization, or these requests are coming from a particular IP addresses, but if that law enforcement officer still wants to access those websites, then how he can access? Or for our defense purposes. So if we look at these property, then we will find out that there is a need of hiding of our identity. How a user can access those services and should not reveal his identity. So with all these motivations, different community has proposed the idea of anonymous network. This is known as dark web. So like a project is known as Tor. This is the most popular project, which is used as a dark web. Similarly, Freenet, I2P, or John Donim network, all these are used to access dark web or anonymous services. I'm going to discuss the idea of the Tor network. This is the most popular network that is used by multiple people, cyber criminals, to access the dark web. So I will discuss what is the concept of Tor browser, what is the concept of onion routers, and how Tor browser and onion router can collectively create a darknet. Then I will discuss about what is the concept of dark website and anonymous services, and what can be the cyber threat that is possible using this darknet. So the Tor project, the onion router project, was started from 1990s. So the goal of this project was to establish an internet communication that can provide the maximum level of privacy and the maximum level of anonymity. Based upon this, Tor network have been created. So it consists of two things. One is the Tor browser, and the other thing is onion routers. So what is the Tor browser? This browser is designed based upon modified Mozilla Firefox. So it consists of a Tor launcher, using which anyone can launch this browser. It does not contain any encrypts, and to establish the communication, it always uses an HTTPS connection. So whenever we download this browser and wants to perform the communication, all our traffics are routed through a dedicated Tor network. In this communication, all our traffics are encrypted and passes through the Tor network. Whenever we leave this browser, upon the termination of the session, this browser deletes our cookies values, our browsing history, and whatever session data it has stored. Because of this deletion, this browser provides the maximum level of privacy. Now, let us discuss how it's provide anonymity. So when we install Tor browser, this browser is also known as onion proxies. It after the installation, it downloads a list of directory, a list of onion routers from a distributed directory server. This is a set of decentralized server from where this browser downloads a different set of onion routers. So these onion routers can be divided into three categories. Some routers are called as entry node, some routers are called as exit node, and some router called as relay node. So these entire list is downloaded by the browser before establishing the communication. Now, uh, as of now, this browser is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and uh, and as well as for Android mobile. Now, the second thing of this network is onion routers. So any public system can work as an onion router by configuring a special set of services. This service is called as a relay services. So anyone can start relay services at a user level and configure their system as an onion router. So these systems are used to create an overlay network. Overlay network means the network will be set up upon the top of the TCP/IP layer protocol. So as we defined earlier, it can contain three kind of node entry. Any router can become either an entry node, it can become as a relay node, or it can be as an exit node. So exit node are very special node. These node are the point from where our Tor traffics leave the Tor network and enters into the normal network. So if any systems wants to become onion router, he has to define whether he wants to become an entry node, whether he wants to become relay node, or whether he wants to become exit node. When any node announced himself as an exit node, then he has to disclose some special things, like what are the services he is going to provide. For example, an exit node can announce that I will provide only website services, or I will be used only for email services, or I will be used only for file transfer services. Now, when exit node when a router become an exit node, he can register himself to the directory server. During this registration phase, he will send their ID, their IP address, how much bandwidth it can consume, and what will be the exit policy. Exit policy means which kind of services he is going to provide. With all these values, he will register himself to the directory server. So when our browser wants to find out the list of exit node, he always select those exit node which has a good reputation. Now, let us discuss how it works. So entire network is based upon several cryptographic algorithm. It uses a different kind of cryptographic key, as well as a few very beautiful cryptographic algorithm. So there are three kind of key that is being used in the network. One is identification key, the second is onion key, and the third is sort key. All these keys are used by either by the browser or by onion routers. In entire communication, all the traffics are encrypted using different encryption algorithm. For example, for some data, it uses a symmetric key encryption. For some data, it uses a public key encryption. And to share the key between two nodes, it uses Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol. As we know that symmetric key encryption are when sender and receiver both uses a common key to encrypt and decrypt the data. In public key encryption algorithm, sender and receiver uses different key to encrypt and decrypt the data. Now, how the data is being transferred over this network? Now, suppose there is a sender S who wants to access a website using using this Tor browser over the darknet by hiding its identity. So in order to access these services, first of all, he will download 3 nodes as we have defined earlier. These node I am showing as a router 1, router 2, and router 3. So here all the routers are using 2 key. One is known as identity key and another is known as onion key. The identity key is used to register the onion router to the directory server. Onion key is used to share the symmetric key between the routers and the sender. And the key K1, K2, and K3 are used to perform the communication between sender and the routers. So after the creation of all these key, any browser can start the communication. In order to do so, a circuit is being created between the sender node and the router nodes. So first of all, sender will create a circuit. This circuit is basically an overlay network. So sender will create a circuit from sender to the router 1, and it will announce that this is my public key K1. Using this key, the later communication will be performed. After the creation of circuit C1, the sender will extend this circuit to the router 2. This circuit is known as circuit 2. So router 1 knows that this circuit is created for circuit 1, and whenever anything I will receive from circuit 1, I will forward to the circuit 2, and vice versa. If anything I am receiving from router 2, I will forward to the circuit 1. Similarly, this circuit is extended up to router 3. So for circuit 2, the router 2 creates circuit 3. So if anything is received from circuit 2, the router 2 will forward to the circuit 3, and router 3 is known as exit node. So if anything it is receiving, it can directly forward to the web server. Now, after construction of the circuit, the browser can start performing the communication. So whatever data it wants to send to the web server, for example, I am taking an example of facebook.com, and a user wants to send some data to the facebook.com. So to transfer this data, the browser perform multiple level of encryption before sending any data. This encrypted data is known as, I'm defining it as ciphertext 1, ciphertext 2, and ciphertext 3. All these ciphertext are created by browser itself. How this ciphertext is being prepared? So if let's suppose there is a message M. This message consists of, like, I want to access facebook.com over the port number 80, and data I want to transfer. This data at the first level, this data is encrypted using the key K3. If we notice that this K3 was the key that was shared between this router 3 and the sender, then the result value is encrypted again using the key K2. If we look, then this K2 is being shared between router 2 and the sender, and again the resultant value is encrypted using this key K1. So for different router, this sender is preparing a different encrypted message, C1, C2, C3. So the router 1 knows that I am getting a value of C1, and since it is encrypted using the key K1, it can easily decrypt it and can see that there is something which I have to forward to the router 2. When router 2 will receive this message, he can easily decrypt the C2 because the value C2 is encrypted using the key value K2. Finally, when the router 3 will receive the message, it can easily decrypt this message because it knows that it has been encrypted using the key value K3. After opening this value, the router 3 will know that this data we have to forward to the facebook.com. Now, the website owner will know that a request is coming from the router 3. The website owner cannot identify who is the actual sender who is sending the request. Because of this different layer of encryption, means first I am encrypting using the K3, then K2, then K1. This entire message is known as onion because we are performing the multiple level of encryption. Now the website owner does not know who is the actual sender who is sending this message. He will assume that router 3 is the sender who is sending this request. Now it's entirely depends upon the website owner whether he wants to reply back or not. If it wants to reply back, then it prepare a response. Here I'm defining response as a reply R and forward to the router 3. So the response R will received by router 3. The router 3 knows only the key value K3. So whatever reply router 3 is receiving, it will immediately encrypt using the this ciphertext. It will immediately encrypt this message and will prepare a ciphertext of C4, and it will forward this C4 to the router 2. Router 2 knows that a request is coming from the circuit 3, so immediately he will encrypt this message using key K2 and will forward to the circuit 1. Circuit 1 will receive this message and will encrypt using key K1 and will forward this message to the sender. Now sender is receiving C6. So what is this ciphertext? This ciphertext is the combination of multiple level of encryption. Since all these key value K1, K2 and K3 is known by the sender, he can perform the multiple level of decryption in order to get the actual reply R. Now, if we look either the request or the reply, then anyone who is sitting in between sender and router 1, he cannot identify who two IPs are performing the communication. Similarly, anyone who is sitting between router 1 and router 2, he cannot know who is performing the communication. And anyone who is sitting between router 2 and router 3, he can also cannot identify the actual IP address of the sender. So using this kind of communication, the sender can hide its identity over the darknet. Now, so this was the way where the sender was hiding its identity. Now let us come to another scenario where can we create a website which can be anonymous to the entire world. So if a website wants to hide its identity means this website does not want to reveal its IP address to the rest of the world. So whether such service can be created or not. So these websites which is anonymous to the rest of the world is known as dark website, or these are also known as anonymized services or dark services, or sometimes it is known as anonymous services. If we look at the internet, there are multiples of dark websites which are currently running, and the website address of a dark website ends with .onion. So the creator of this dark website always try to change their IP addresses so that they can hide themselves from different law enforcement agencies. Let us discuss first how this dark website is being created. Then we discuss what are the disadvantages of such websites. So if let's suppose there is a person Bob who wants to create a hidden services, who wants to create a dark website. So in order to create this dark website, what he will do first he will select two key. One is their public key and a private key. Based upon his public key, he will calculate its onion address using a standard hash function. Now for this onion address, he will select three IP addresses. This will known as IPO. These IP addresses will be used for the Tor browser. If anybody wants to access these websites, he can use these IPO and can access this hidden website. Now the name of the onion website and the list of IP addresses, IP1, IP2 and IP3, all these are registered at the directory server. If any user, let's suppose Alice, wants to access some onion websites, then he can easily contact to the directory server and can find out the list of IPO, the list of IP addresses that belongs corresponding to this onion websites. Now, other than this, to access the dark website, the user needs to create a particular onion, needs to select a particular onion router that is known as rendezvous point RP. After selection of this router, the browser dark website can submit this request. What this request will contain? With this RP point, this browser has already shared a random value R. So RP knows that if any reply coming from different router, and if it is containing this value R, then I will forward this data to the particular user Alice. So during the sending of this request, this Alice add their RP node, this random value R, cookies value, and a Diffie-Hellman key exchange value. So this request will forwarded through different onion routers via Tor network, and will received by the dark website. For example, here I'm showing how dark website communication take place. At the first point, this hidden server select an IPO mark at 1, then it registered himself to the directory server mark as 2. If any clients wants to access this dark websites, first of all, it's identify the IPO, the list of IP addresses which belongs against these dark websites. Then at point number 4, it select the list of node that will work as a RPO point. After selecting the dark website address and the RPO point, it can forward its request. This request is just shown as a 0.5. This request will processed via the point IPO. IPO will directly forward this request to the hidden server. So during the sending of this request, all the data is passes through the network. So anybody who is sitting between these nodes cannot identify what request is being processed. Now, when the dark website receives this request, it can decide whether it wants to reply back or not. During this reply, it will select another path. This path is shown as path number 6. So during the request, the path was 5, and during the reply, it uses different path, that is 6. So during this reply, this dark website will add this random value R. From this R, since this request is passes through the RPO point, RPO will receives that reply is coming and it is containing the value of R. So this reply will forward it to the client node. So in the step 7, the browser will receive the reply. So if we look at the entire communication, then all the request and reply are being forwarded through the different path, and since all the traffics are routed through the Tor network, so anyone who is observing the communication cannot identify which websites is providing the services and which is the user who is sending the request. So this was the idea using which darknet was created and the dark web was created. And I have defined earlier what was the good motive behind the construction of darknet, but practically current in the existing systems, people are using darknet for performing different kind of cyber threats and for performing different kind of criminal activities using this darknet. Let us discuss what are the bad things that can be performed using this Tor network, using this anonymous services. Then let us discuss what are the cyber security threats that are possible using this darknet. So many of the cyber criminals are using this darknet for performing various kind of criminal activities, like they are using for gambling services. They are using it to sell different kind of cyber crime tools and to sell stolen data of different websites. They are using it to host porn contents. They are using it for illegal file sharing, for torrent contents. And since exit node is a crucial point from where this Tor traffic leave the Tor network and enter into the normal network, so many of the hackers uses exit node as a target point in order to launch an attack using this Tor network. People are selling drugs using this network, and they are performing different kind of frauds like financial frauds, ransomware attacks, and these darknet are being used for publishing unwanted illegal messages related to the integrity and national securities, regarding molestation, attacks, and religious broadcastings. So the earlier intention of darknet was good, but nowadays people are using only it for different kind of criminal activities, which is a very worrying situation. Uh, Let us understand how this can be bad, how this can impact an organization. So if we notice the latest media news, then we will find out that there are a lot of data breach that is happening over the dark net. Means cyber criminals, hackers steals the data belonging to some organizations and they publishes over the darknet. And either it is a critical infrastructure, either it is a large organizations, um, either it is a banking infrastructures. Data are continuously being stealed and uploaded to the darknet. Similarly, there are other kind of risk like darknet are being used to perform different kind of cyber security threats. For example, attackers are using this darknet to perform malware attacks, to launch denial of services attacks, botnet attacks, or even to launch phishing attacks. Many of the exploit kits, malwares, or trojans which are available in the dark net to purchase and sell. If attackers are continuously trying to steal their customer data, their operational data, their financial data like payment card details, their intellectual properties, and all these data are are continuously uploaded to the darknet. So this is a very worrying situation. For example, if you are a government department and your data has been stolen and uploaded to the darknet, since we know that to capture the attackers who exist over the darknet is really very difficult, then each organization should start thinking about how we can prevent our data uh, uh, from the dark market. Um, so so as a preventive stress, so first strategy should be like if any organization implementing cybersecurity practices, so as a preventive step, first of all, it should not allow anyone to install any it should not allow any users to install the Tor network, as we know that this kind of browser, this kind of darknet is being used only for the malicious purposes. It is being used for only for fraudulent activities. So companies should not allow to install Tor browser within their network. Similarly, another preventive approach can be some organizations block the list of publicly available entry node, exit node, and a directory server at their perimeter level. Means they can block at their IPS level, their firewall level, to those nodes, those IPs which are working as an exit node. Similarly, this darknet, this dark websites uses the concept of self-signed digital certificate. Since the entire communication is HTTPS based communication, so we need a digital certificates, and these websites are registered solely. So their public address are not certified by any trusted certificate authorities. So if the organization observe that any website is using self-signed digital certificate, then those traffic can be blocked by the organization. So these are the a few basic preventive steps that organization can follow to prevent misuse that is originated from the Tor browser. Similarly, the organization can follow some best practices so that uh, they can they can save their self from data from the data that can be uploaded to the darknet, because depend upon the nature of the organization, the sensitivity of data will be. For example, if you are using a critical, if you are a critical infrastructure, then definitely your data is at most important, and you know that if this data will be available to the darknet, it will be impossible to recover or to delete those data. For example, a website which is collecting Aadhaar card detail and PAN card detail, and somehow if attacker got access to the systems and steal this data, then this data will be available over the dark net forever, and later time to time this data can be used for different malicious purposes. Similarly, your payment card detail, your username and password has been stolen, then these username and password can be sold, can be used for to launch further attacks. So you need to follow the best practices in order to prevent your data um, from the darknet, and you also need best practices so that you can minimize the attacks that can be originated from the darknet. Um, Darknet is also the worrying situation for the government, for law enforcement agencies, and for different organizations, because it is really difficult to find out the persons who is hiding themselves over the darknet. Also, to save our data, it is the responsibility of organization itself. They should not rely upon the law enforcement agencies that our data will be, if our data is stolen, then it will be the responsibility of LEA to protect those data. The organization can also monitor what are the latest cyber threats that is originated from darknet, and they can also implement best practices in order to prevent those cyber threats. They can also implement what are the best cyber security practices to prevent a data breach and data stealing. Like I have given the example of one of the advisory that is published by CERT-In in order to prevent data breaches and data leaks. Similarly, these kind of advisory the organization can implement within their organization, and they should also provide an awareness program within the organization so that everyone should knows about what are the bad impact, what are the worst impact that can happen using this dark web. One of the important thing that we need to observe that the attackers are using decentralized cryptocurrency in order to sell and purchase the data over the darknet. So if there is a normal attacker, then the analyst person can identify themselves, can identify attackers with the use of their transactions. But since the attackers are using decentralized cryptocurrency, so to capture those attackers, becomes more difficult. Further, as a monitoring purpose, the organization can use different kind of monitoring tools that capture the malicious behavior within the organization. Like they can establish network flow analysis tools, honeypots, IDS, IPS. So all these tools will work as a monitoring your network behavior to prevent maliciousness or fraudulent activity within the organization. Now, the question comes whether we should use dark web or dark web and darknet or not. Like, if our purpose is good, I want to achieve the anonymity, I want to access some services which are not accessible from our network, from our territory, then for good purposes, we can use the dark web, we can use the Tor browser. But if our purposes are bad, like as cyber criminals are using, then we should not use this Tor network. Similarly, if our communication is identity-based communication, for example, if I wanted to access facebook.com, then we know that to access Facebook, we require our login ID and password. So this communication is identity-based communication. So there is no need to use this Tor browser to perform identity-based communication. Now, the one question which usually we confuse, like whether the darknet, Tor browser, and VPN are similar concept or not. So this this Tor browser is actually used to provide to hide our identity, to hide our IP addresses. But in VPN communication, there is a tunnel which is being created from sender to the VPN server. So all the traffic which is flowing from the sender node to the VPN server, that is encrypted, but our VPN server knows who is the sender, and the VPN server forward this request on the behalf of us. So VPN is used when VPN is somewhere used to access those services where the services are blocked in our network, but we want to access this. Another use of VPN is like I am working remotely and still I want to access the network of my organization. Then for those purposes, VPN services can be used. And the Tor browser is entirely the different concept, which is used to achieve the anonymity. These are the references. This was all from my side. If anyone has any query, then I can answer that. So the first question is, what about the identity information required by the website for authentication the user? Websites can authenticate user using different kind of mechanism. Like many websites use password-based authentications, OTP-based authentications, or they can sometimes they use IP-based access control, like you can access those websites from a particular IP only. So different kind of authentications uses by the websites. Mostly they uses password based or OTP based mechanism to authenticate the user. Any normal router can work as an onion router? If yes, do we need to do some special configuration? Actually, the concept of a router is little different here. So any normal computer, any normal router can, any normal laptop can work as a router. Here the meaning of router is the system, the computer systems has a special service that is called as a relay service. The relay service is installed in the systems. So the purpose of this relay service is whatever Tor traffic this computer system is receiving, it will forward this traffic to the another computer system. Since it is running a special relay services, this node is this computer system is known as a onion router. So this is not a hardware router. This is a normal computer system. How it is different from VPN, I already covered. Yeah. Yeah, so all the queries were related to router itself. So it is not a Cisco router. It is a it is a normal systems which can behave like a router. Another question is increase of darknet. All information about sender will be hidden from the website. In the case, how server will identify. So there are two ways we can use this browser. One is if a website is normal, like there is a Google, there is a Facebook, and the user is accessing from the browser. So in this case, the IP address identity of the sender is hidden, but the website is the public. Another example was the dark website, where the identity of the sender was hidden as well as the identity of website was also hidden. So there are two different contexts. Yes. So how server will identify the exit node? From exit node will forward our request. If we assume that the website is public and user is anonymous, then the exit node will forward our request in the behalf of us. So the server will assume that the request is coming from this exit node. Yes. And in the case of dark website, since both the website is hidden and the sender is hidden, then the server, the website will identify if the request is genuine, if the URL request is appropriate, then it can reply back using this Tor network. Okay, if anyone has any other query. So one question was, is there any government of India policy for illegal darknet? So I think as of now, there is no, I think there is not a very well-defined policy regarding the darknet. But yes, the cybercrime and criminal activities as well as cyber threats that are being performed from the darknet, that is in very rise. So it is a worrying situation for everyone that how it can be prevented and how different organizations can protect themselves from being targeted from the dark market. Yes, the question is, will any website like Facebook or Google will be able to identify that a request is coming from the Tor network? Yes, any website sometimes collect the data that from which browser this request is coming. So web server can easily identify that whether it is coming from a Chrome browser, whether it is coming from Mozilla browser, or whether it is coming from the Tor browser. So as a preventive measure, the website owner or the website service provider can can prevent by not to responding those requests. Like many of the website does not respond if they receives that the request is coming from a Tor browser. Yes, and many of the website also does not respond this request because websites wants to keep a lot of data to the client side, to the browser side, like cookies values, session values, or some temporary information. Since this Tor browser does not sometimes it does not allow to store those informations, then this website automatically drops those requests. Yes. Any more queries? Website will know if the request is coming from the browser, then the website will know the IP address of exit node only, that the request is coming from exit node, but it will not know the actual IP address of the sender. So it is possible to block dark web by ISP. So I think all the traffics are being encrypted and forwarded, and this encryption is done to the top of the TCP/IP layer protocol. To the top of the TCP layer, this circuit is created on the top of the TCP layer. So monitoring traffic at the ISP level is really very difficult, but there are various research which are trying to identify, trying to distinguish between the normal traffic and the traffic which is generated through the through the Tor network. Still the research is going on, but still it is at a very initial level. So to identify the dark web traffic, I think it is very difficult. Yes. Any more query? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. It was excellent.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm disconnecting.
Now I request Binoy, Sri Binoy Das, to take the session. You want to give some break, sir? 5-minute break and start the session, or after you want to give? In between, you want to give? Binoy, sir, you are there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Better to give 5 minutes break.
Okay,
So,
you start at 3 o'clock.
okay.
Yeah, please share your PPT.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.